As we sit here tonight, we call upon the sacred light of Source, the divine masculine and divine feminine. We call upon our spirit guides, angels, ascended masters, light beings, and galactic guides, our ancestors, nature spirits, and animal guides. We invite in Ganesh to open the path. We also invite in Thoth, the keeper of wisdom, the Akasha, and time. Thoth, we ask that you allow us into the Akashic records to download knowledge and information. We also call in Archangel Michael, Naisima, and Hanuman to protect us in this sacred space. And we call upon the energy of Phi, the sacred geometry, and the spider to weave the web of geometry around the sacred circle for protection. Spirit guides, we ask tonight to connect with the energy of 111, the portal of the new moon, and the energy of manifestation in January, beginning of the year. We ask that with this intention, you allow us to download knowledge and information for the collective to heal. Please allow us to receive any messages that you think are of our highest good and of the highest good of the collective. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And with that, the sacred circle is now open. Namaste.
I'm immediately taken to Antarctica. I see underground tunnels of ice. I see igloos, even though I'm sure that I know there aren't igloos in Antarctica, but I see them. And maybe also a way station in the distance, a scientific way station with some kind of tower, some kind of electrical tower, I think. And a beautiful orange sunset in the distance. And I think maybe also somebody in obviously very warm gear, huge boots, walking toward that sunset. Male. And that's all.
I also saw snow, but the snow that I saw is a river, and the river is crystal clear, like the color of like the Caribbean Ocean. It's extremely blue. I see snow on either side of the river. I had the view of being a bird, and I almost like kind of have the feeling of like when you're in a small airplane, like gliding, like going back and forth. And the snow keeps catching my eye, and then like all I can see is light. Like it's like I feel like my eyes have never been this wide open. I feel like I can see larger and further than I've ever seen, but also I'm only seeing the light of the sun like hitting the glare on the snow. And I just feel like I'm flying into the sun, like flying into the light. But I feel like I'm going the opposite way towards the sunset that you're seeing. Like you see the sunset and I'm like flying in the other direction. And as I say that, I'm seeing a man, and he has on like some sort of like cloak or some sort of thing that is all made out of bird feathers. And there's black bird feathers, there's white bird feathers, there's like brown, it's just all different bird feathers, and he has something that like comes over his head that would be like a hood and then some sort of beak. And I feel like he's doing some sort of dancing, and I can kind of start to hear the faint sound of a drum in the background. And I feel like he's doing some sort of shape-shifting energy, like he's doing some sort of dance to bring not so much himself into spirit, but there's people sitting behind him that he can bring into the spirits of birds. I'm just gonna sit with this for a few minutes and see what I can get. I'm done for now.
Dina, it's wild that you were talking about flying because at first I was like, I've been watching too much Harry Potter lately. But um as soon as Kristen, you were talking about the sun, I was up in the sky and I was seeing this bright, beautiful orange sun setting. And then I saw this woman on a broom, and I'm like, oh, here we go, Harry Potter. But it's real, and it was this woman, and she had this witch hat on, and she was holding her hat, and just her energy is so filled with joy and happiness and freedom. And she came, and like you said, Dana, she's flying away from the sun. And then as soon as she flew past me, many others, I mean, probably like 100 people on brooms started flying past me. And it's just this, like I said, this energy of joy and freedom. And I could feel the wind, like as if I was flying with them, but I wasn't. But yeah, just this time of happiness. I don't know, I feel like I cannot emphasize joy enough. Um, but one thing that I want to sit with another minute because it's interesting is like when I can see them coming towards me and flying past me, but then when I turn to look like where they're going, I can't see anything. It's just like I feel like I'm hitting up against ice, and there's some kind of dark energy that's trapped in the ice. Um, and it's this really stark contrast to all the joy and the light and the beauty. Um, but it's almost like I'm turning my head and I'm hitting my head up against the ice and I can't turn it anymore. And so I can't quite get a visual. It's just all kind of gray. Um, the one thing I will say is I feel like the ice is melting. So yeah, but I want to sit with this for a little bit more. So that's all for now.
Just one brief thing from what you said, Jacqueline. I feel like the blackness that you were seeing under the ice is moving, almost like it's a current.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah. I kind of like, to me, it looks almost smoke like, but yeah. Mm.
It's almost like a funnel of blackness around is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing this blackness swirling, if you will. That's all I'm seeing, the blackness swirling, doing a lot of swirling.
The words, the words that came to me, and a few of you like crossing over of some of the things you've said, is polar opposites. Is, the polar Antarctica, the sun, flying away or going away from the sun or going towards the sun. It's like it just kind of, the words polar opposites came up for me. That's kind of it for now.
And the word polar seems very important here. That's all.
For some
Exactly.
reason, God, I'm seeing this in Disney mode. When you opened, I was seeing Winnie the Pooh jumping up from a big tall cliff into a river, but in fun, in like joy and laughter, and then like Piglet running and collecting shiny stones. But then I was seeing the opposite of Eeyore off to the side, very sad, like with a message of like they're trying to get him to come in, and he's saying, I was asking why is he not going in, and he's ashamed. He said he's very ashamed and he's trying to get rid of his shame. But the same kind of river journey and opposite emotion was coming in cartoon version for me. That's all for now.
I'll just say saw Winnie the Pooh as well until you said it. I wasn't sure. It was a bear with a shirt, and he was digging like in the snow, and that's where that black swirl came out of for me. But I vividly saw Winnie the Pooh as well. That's all for now.
It's interesting because I saw a polar bear floating on a piece of ice, and I dismissed myself because I saw that in like a newspaper thing, like a picture someone had taken about the melting effects of the melting ice, and they showed a polar bear like clinging on, sleeping on this little bit of ice. So I thought my mind was going logical, but there I've got polar and a bear. That's it for now.
I see a couple standing on a beach, embracing each other, while the gentleman is leaning on a palm tree, looking at the sunset. That is for now. That is for now.
Very interesting how so many sunsets are playing into this. That's all.
It seems to feel like a lot of dark and light, the opposite, the dark, the light connection. That's it.
I feel the dark and light too. I'm seeing a pendant. This man that was dancing with the bird costume on, he's wearing a pendant, and I can just kind of see like the lower part of his face and the pendant, and he's indigenous, and the pendant is clear, like almost like if you look at a piece of like quartz crystal, but it's a softer material, but in it is a whole bunch of little like bits of like black slivers of stone that are inside this like kind of quartz material, almost like if you look at a smoky quartz, but these are more like fluid and almost they have the appearance of being like black little blades of grass in there or something. And there's a real sense of movement, and I feel like the longer I look at his pendant, it's actually like everything's moving and forming, and it's there's something like very like primal energy about it. Like I feel like I'm looking at something under a microscope, like I'm looking at cells or something under a microscope, but it's also in the pendant that he's wearing, and I get the feeling that it was dug out of the earth here in Antarctica, that it contains like very, very early matter, or very early items that first came to this planet. It feels like it's like something that hasn't like necessarily been like seen the light of day for a very, very long time, but he has it on his pendant. I feel like that's connected to the energy that he's invoking with helping people fly through the air. And it's weird, I keep thinking of like oil reserves, like big like chunks of oil in the Earth's surface, and I feel like there's also like oil comes out of those, but I feel like there's like other stuff there too, and I feel like there's stuff that's like under the oil that like we haven't seen as a collective humanity yet. I feel like there's something else under there, and that as we pull oil out of the earth, we're pulling other things are going to come with it. They have already started coming with it, but this feels more energetic than like a physical, tangible thing. It feels like something is being released into the Earth's atmosphere that's coming from within the Earth, but had originally come from the sky. But it's been sitting there gestating, and I don't want to say sleeping, but like hibernating. Hibernating like bears hibernate. That's all for now.
What comes to mind for me, what you were just saying, is as above, so below. That the reflection, like what we say is out there is also in here, or the earth is vibrating and it's also going through a process of ascension. And the stone feels like it is sacred stone, and it contains a lot of wisdom and knowledge, like a quartz crystal more than amplified, like a rainbow crystal. That's it.
You know what this is reminding me of is something called a shalagram. Um, my boyfriend has one, and it's like an Indian thing. The rocks that are found in this holy river in India, they contain a lot of power and um, not of this planet, but it sounds really similar. Something I'll share is that as I'm sitting in the room, I I have my eyes closed and I always like to wear a sleep mask, but I felt a man walk past me, and I'm in a very tiny room. And he's standing here to my left, and he's an older man, maybe about I don't know, he's saying 60s or 70s, but he feels older than that. And I want to say he's maybe like 1800s London, very Sherlock Holmes. He's wearing a cape and a hat and carrying this black cane with a silver decorative piece on the top. I'm gonna sit with him for a second because I'm not quite sure. He walked past me really fast, so kind of startled me. But I want to see what he has to say here. That's all for now.
I got a rainbow, but before that I got an Indian chanting, singing, dancing, and then jaguar and rainbow, and then a tunnel, just going through like a lack of a better word, through a tunnel. That's all.
I can also get the man. I feel like he was on a ship. I can get him on a ship. And he did some sort of exploration at some point. I don't think it was in Antarctica. I actually think it was in the North Pole, but it was in a sort of same conditions that we were seeing. And I'm getting the sense that I see this man, and I can see the couple on the beach, and I can see him in London, and I can see the way station in Antarctica, and I can see what looks like lines going across the earth. Almost like when you look at like the Kabbalah tree of life, you know how it's connected by lines that are dots that form something that looks very like grid-like, or very, I can see like all of these different things being connected, like different energy points on the earth being connected somehow to what we originally saw, and the energy independent and all of the energy that's coming forward. Like it's almost like energy being like called down into the earth in all different spots, but it's all connected by the same energy and the same sort of swirling, moving sort of, it's like in all of these places, that same reserve is within the earth's surface. And I'm also feeling like this is somehow connected to actual ways to move within the earth under the surface, something that resembles what we would call tunnels, but it's not quite as physical as that. It's not like quite as easy as like, I'm going to walk through the train tunnel. It feels like it's an energetic way of moving through the earth, in the way that blood moves through the body, or, you know, like it's a physical thing, but it's also like, it's like the arteries of the earth or something like that. And they're both in the planet, and they're also energetically above the planet, in the same way that we have auras and chakra systems. I feel like I'm seeing so much right now. It's just becoming a burst of color. Like I can't even see or understand anything. I feel like I'm having one of those moments that like what I'm seeing right now, like the way my brain thinks, the way our brains think, like I can't even begin to like understand like what I'm getting. Like my head literally is hurting right now. Like my brain doesn't have, like, I need to make room for this information. I feel like I almost can't process it logically right now. So I'm just gonna like sit back and see what I get.
I saw similarly, while people were talking for a while, continues what felt like volcanic eruptions, but it was more spewing and more like the lines you were talking about, tunnels, but not the veins, like the veins of the earth, just kind of erupting and coming out. Sometimes it was very gray matter, and other times very bright reds and purples and yellows. And I continue to see when it explodes an eye, and this eye continues to, Danny, you shape shifting, a lot of this shape shifting of this man with long dark hair continues to form out of this eye that continues to pop up. And that's all for me. Seeing a forest, a very plush forest, but it's in a fire. It's on fire, and the sun is starting to come up, and it's like the sun is grabbing the flames and kind of trying to help heal or take or put out the fire. That's all.
That image really resonates, of the sun trying to put the fire out, because I'm seeing like, to me, what looks like a really very large version of a very typical like Grecian or Roman statue of a woman in like a sort of toga like white dress, but she's larger than life. She's huge. And I see her, and it's almost like she's standing. It's like she's both standing on top of the planet and standing to the side of the planet. Maybe there's even more than one woman. And I get that she's like the earth is like a body, like a female's body, but it's almost, I feel like this woman is trying to do something that resembles what we would call Reiki to the earth. And I'm just filled with this feeling of like, when our bodies need help, we have ways that we can heal them. We have doctors, we have energy healers, we have all of, so many different ways we can try to seek relief, right? But like who does the earth have that's larger than her to heal her? And I'm just like filled with this sort of like, I feel like she's both asking for a healing and giving herself a healing. And it's just a very sort of, I feel like everything we're seeing is connected to the healing of the earth, like the earth trying to heal and set her course right. That's all for now.
And when you were saying that, all that came to me is the eye that I keep seeing. I feel like those are her eyes. You're seeing her whole body. I'm getting very close up of her eyes. You have purple hue, and yeah, it's like the purple hue is going to the sun and around. It's just what you're saying resonates. It's trying to heal. And now I see swans forming like a heart in a lake. So that's all for now.
So I was sitting with this man in the room and asking him what he wants to show me. And he tapped me on the shoulder with his wand. And well, let me back up for a second, because Dina, earlier you mentioned the pendant. And when you said the word pendant, spirit dropped in and actually showed me there's this locket that I have that's it's my grandmother's, and I physically have it here, not out, but I use it for time magic. Spirit told me to do that. But whenever Dana said pendant, this locket dropped in to my vision immediately, and I grabbed it and I kind of went through some portal and I landed. It's funny because I felt like I went through a portal, but kind of ended up also again on the ice. But I was sitting on a sheet of ice, and it was this big body of water, but part of it was still icy. And so I was sitting on a ledge of ice and my feet were in the water. And I could tell there was a lot of dark energy swirling in the bottom of the water. But I was just sitting with it until he tapped me on the shoulder with his cane. And as soon as he did that, I just immediately dove into the water and way down to the bottom. And I could see the tunnels that you're all describing. But what's interesting is that the tunnels they're definitely energetic tunnels, but they look as if it's like plexiglass, like clear plexiglass. And they're all like, I could see them kind of branching out and connecting in different hallways and everything. And I can see through them. There's nothing really in the moment that I can physically see inside, but I was swimming around saying kind of like, how do I get in? And he looked at me and he tapped his head with his cane and he said, not in your logical mind, in your heart, you get in. And so then I sat there. Well, I came back up to the surface and then I was sitting there and I said, okay, I connect through the heart. And as soon as I started connecting to the heart, and I don't remember exactly who was saying about the lava, but when you were speaking about that lava, it started coming and swirling around my feet and all the way around my legs and hips and solar plexus. And strangely enough, it stopped there. It didn't ascend anymore. But it was also this color of red. Actually, it was the red first and then the lava. Really, really intense red color came and just the red came through my whole body and then the lava just to the solar plexus. But it was like, it sounds a little gruesome, but I know it's for the healing. It felt like my body was ripped in half, and but healing somehow by doing so. And this surge of red energy just coming in me, and like I said, the lava coming around. And as soon as I was seeing the lava, a snake also appeared and was coming up my body slowly, and then it went past my right shoulder and it left. And what I'm getting from spirit is that the grounding, that the color of red from Mother Earth, is coming up, but also someone mentioned this earlier, there's this ascension of Mother Earth herself, and it's coming in the way like of the volcano, and it feels actually, it feels very painful. Like I was sick the other day and it just feels like the same thing, like just this intense pain, but also an awakening at the same time. It's interesting duality. And with the snake, I get this kundalini rising of the earth and of the collective. But first, of course, we always have to go through the first 3 chakras in order to ascend. And this is what Mother Earth is showing me now, is like just this fire activation in her lower 3 chakras in order to take us higher. That is all for now.
Jacqueline, as you were talking about diving into the water and going to the bottom, I was suddenly fully present with you. And as you went, but I was watching you, I wasn't having the experience. I was watching you have the experience. And as you went down, I saw an enormous serpent jump up, or its back sort of pop out of the water as you dove in. And then as you kept going down and you saw the tunnels, the plexiglass rang true. And then you asked how to get in, and the answer was through the heart. And then suddenly, for me, the tunnels became just a wall of kind of energetic plexiglass in this freezing cold ocean. And behind the wall, there was this white lime colored light that was through this almost not translucent glass. It still had this frosty kind of energetic look to it. And so I was immediately in there, as the being said, through your heart. And as soon as I entered, I saw this enormous God that had this intricate pattern of, I think, eggplant colored outlines, still with the lime green and a purple kind of light as well coming through. And he had 3 eyes and a scepter, and just a beautiful, gorgeous being. And then he intentionally exploded himself, and it spread. And I just started saying healing, 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 as you were talking about the healing of the earth. And he was spreading his healing through the earth. And it's not so much about the earth, because the earth will be fine. It's about the beings that live on the earth, because they won't if we don't start working together. And so I just wanted to share that, especially the serpent part. And that's all.
when you started talking about the different tunnels and lines, what came to me is Earth's ley lines, and that they are energetic pathways connecting certain frequencies across the planet, and certain spots where they connect could also form like more of a hub, and then more branching out from that. And so I thought of the ley lines as energetics. I had mentioned the ascension of Earth, so I felt that's a continuation. The fire from the volcanoes is like prima, it's divine fire, the Agni, and that is what has to happen to transform. So the shift has to happen. There is fire, the transmutation, like lead to gold. And also with the rainbows, it really, I saw really the healing is the healing of the earth chakras. So I think that was the rainbow energies and the rainbow colors, and yeah, it's like its own divine energy happening for Earth's own cycles, because everything is cycles. So some things, it's just the way it's going to be because it's Earth's cycles of cleansing itself and the different ages. And I think that's it for now.
When you were
Yes.
all, no, you go.
So go right ahead. I'll wait.
Really quickly, my serpent, I saw a serpent a while back and it was like a king cobra. It kind of came up out of the ground, and it was black with a very red tongue. And I just wanted to add that was with the serpent, how the serpent came to me. That's all.
Cobra means protection as a serpent. Cobra.
As for myself, I've seen the gentleman that Jacqueline's been mentioned. He tapped me on my right shoulder with his cane, and he asked me to speak. And I asked him, "What would you like me to say?" He says, "Speak from the heart." And I saw yellow, the color yellow, very vibrant, and then the color green. And then I was brought to seeing the woman that Dana had mentioned that was presiding over Earth. And she had some kind of vase pouring out some purple energy liquid of some sort onto the earth. That's it for now.
So I've been seeing tubes underwater. It feels like an aquarium, where there are underground pathways, and I saw a seal came up to me and it was waving and it wanted me to follow, and I was in the water with it, and we went down very far into the ocean, into the earth, and there was like a little igloo shape but made of stones, but very little. It had like a miniature Alice in Wonderland door. And the seal it had some sort of line down to the very core, the center of the earth. And the seal was like blowing bubbles or some sort of energy, something down into the core of the earth. And I'm trying to like ask what the purpose of this is, other than what I'm getting is just, it's like tuning in and honing into gravity and just the core earth energy of grounding in. But it feels like there's something beyond this little mini door that I haven't quite opened yet or understood why the seal is blowing bubbles. It's like a big metal straw down to the center of the earth. I'm going to explore that for a minute. So that's all for now.
So as you were speaking, actually, I thought to myself, well, what exactly, like, you're showing us these tunnels and it's beautiful, but what, like, how can we use them for something? Can we connect? And as soon as I said that, I'm seeing the tunnels again, but the edges of this plexiglass are now like a rainbow color. And going back to like the ley lines, um, Spirit is saying we can connect to this energy of these rainbow colored ley lines in the tunnels. And by doing so, we can help heal Mother Earth and help her to ascend. Yeah, that's all for now.
At the beginning of the journey, I had the word separateness and interconnection come to me, and I'm not seeing any particular images, but as people are talking, I like sort of see separateness and interconnection in the tunnels and the various images people are using. So that's it.
I can feel that separateness and interconnectedness. It's like another version of the shadow and light that keeps kind of coming in this journey. I was listening to what everyone was saying, but the whole time I feel like I've been floating up in outer space right outside of the earth with this one immense goddess figure. And I can just kind of just see the folds of her like dresses, and I feel like I'm looking down, and then I see the moon in the sky, and she almost has this look of one of those old images of the moon that you would see depicted, where sometimes they have like a telescope in the one eye, and the face is kind of scrunched up, and she kind of like, and it's the energy is so like feminine, almost like this sort of like grandmotherly type of energy, and I feel like she leans in, and I can almost like feel her like kiss me on the cheek, like it almost feels like I can feel the craters and everything hitting my own cheek. And she just said to me, she's like, just a reminder that even though you can't always see me, I'm always here. And she's like, it's kind of like that with everything that's happening down there. Just because you can't see something, it's always there. If you don't see the light, the light's there. If you don't see the dark, it's always there. And that's just that sort of like, again, that balance. And it's just like, just because it might feel like we're in a place of darkness on this healing journey right now with the earth and what's happening, doesn't mean that that's what's happening, that's like where it's going ultimately. That's just like the process that we're in right now. And I feel like she takes care of the earth in a way that like, I don't know that I can understand right now, but she's kind of like, I'm always there. And I feel like she sends some form of regulation to the earth by the way she cycles around her, um and that balance is there. She's just like, I'm here. I feel a real like sense of peace come over my heart, when I can feel this sort of weird bubbling energy before. That's all for now.
So I think it was Quinn who was saying about the oneness and separation. And then I asked Spirit, okay, well, you're showing us this light and dark and these opposites, but how do we live in harmony and in balance with that within the earth? And immediately I was taken to what feels like a huge library. And I don't know why, but as soon as I say this, Spirit is just telling me Sistine Chapel, so that's what it is. And there's this older man, and for whatever reason, I'm seeing it at a weird, very strange angle, as if I'm like leaning back underneath him. And he has this pendulum, but it's this round gold disc that is really, really heavy. And it's funny because I can't quite tell if he is swinging it back and forth or if it's in a contraption that it's just hanging and it's swinging. I want to say it's both, weirdly enough. But his message is, I'm seeing it going back and forth and back and forth. And it's this beautiful, soft, rhythmic motion. But the message is the weight is anchoring us, and we anchor ourselves by grounding into Mother Earth. But then we also have to flow. And the flowing is this really graceful back and forth, very smooth, no bumps, just flowing. And so Spirit is saying, we bring these two opposites into balance, just anchoring into the earth and flowing with the rest. And that is all for now.
So what I got from the seal is he's blowing bubbles, and it's interesting, Dana, you said bubbling. He's blowing bubbles in like a metal straw down to the center of the earth. And what I got was the image is like a homemade kind of hydroponic, where if you make one with a soda bottle, you have to use a straw and blow air bubbles. You're oxygenating the water. So he's sending oxygen down to the earth, and just that as the carrier of life, sending the energy of life. And he told me, you can choose where you're sending it to. Right now, this collective group was sending it to the center of the earth. So we are blowing bubbles of oxygen, life, to the earth. But you can choose to direct that life wherever you want. And blowing bubbles, blowing oxygen, blowing your thoughts wherever they might go. And that's all for now.
As you were talking, Emily, I felt as if I jumped into water, and the water was really nice and warm. Like, I had the sense of like the water being warm, partly because I was warm when I jumped into it. So it was this sort of feeling of like warmth and cool meeting at the same time, but just feeling all of the little bubbles come up all around me. Like I could feel them around my feet and my like calves and knees and just all the way up my legs, and just feel this sort of bubbly sort of carbonation kind of energy, just like feel it sort of tingling around my body as I jump into the water. And I know that like I'm somewhere that's very warm and somewhere that's very tropical and somewhere that's very like I feel like I'm having I'm on the beach. I'm just having a nice, wonderful, beautiful, relaxing day on the beach, and I'm jumping into this water and just like feeling this sort of just relaxing sort of energy come over my body. And I feel like that's like what you were saying about sending that healing energy, that like something about like how like the earth would feel if she got it, that's how I feel jumping in water, is how she feels to receive the energy or something. Like she can receive it and she can like feel it. And it doesn't matter that it's just like one person sending it, or even a group of, what do we have here, 10 people. It doesn't matter the size. It's like the intention and the doing of it that is what matters. And I think it would be nice if we all like took a moment to just maybe center some of this energy. Like wherever. I feel like it could be anywhere, maybe like a favorite spot of ours or someplace we just feel like needs it.
Uh, Dan, as you were talking, I was for some reason imagining that I was inside the womb, like as a tiny little infant, I just felt like blood all around me, but sort of like enveloped in like a mother's stomach. And that was reminding me of the separateness and interconnection thing, that like the beauty of like a mother and child being two separate beings technically, but still unified. So yeah. Oh, that's all I had to say.
That's so beautiful. And it makes me think kind of that's like all like aren't we kind of all isn't she doing that for all of us in a way, right? Like we live on her, like we live, you know? um, it's just I know really beautiful. I'm filled with a lot of bubbling energy again around my heart. That's all for now. I as I was sending the energy to the earth, I was taken to a memory and a place that I had been when I was I guess like 13 or 14, and I'm taken to this vacation I went on with my family, and we went to the West Indies, and we were on this like island called like Young Island. It was like a really tiny island, and we took a hike to go to like a waterfall, and we were in this waterfall in this sort of like I guess like jungle like area kind of, and I just remember like the way the water felt there with all the water like come like the waterfall coming down into the pool of water, and it's that same sort of energy, except I'm not on a beach, I'm actually like in a waterfall on the earth, and I'm just like brought there to that place, and just this like amazing connection that I had with um like being, you know, in water on the earth, and just and I feel like that's where I'm sending all of my healing light to that place right now. That's all for now.
It's interesting, Dina, because so just a little background. Dana and I were talking because I'm moving into a house next month, and um I was being a little fussy with the owners about energy, and so they were saying to me, well, there's this mountain that the house is in front of, and apparently it was home to one of the Incas' solar clocks. And Dana and I were talking because we felt that there was some kind of tunnel in this mountain that needed to release energy. And so I didn't even think about it right now. Um, I just, I said to myself, well, where can I send this energy? And I didn't have a particular place. So I said, you know what? I'll send it right here. And so I just envisioned this straw going down right next to me or in front of me and blowing these beautiful bubbles into the earth. And then I started to feel the earth around me shaking. And I pictured that mountain, and it was just like this energy, like someone blasted a wall out, or, of the mountain. And this tunnel just became free, and all of this smoke and energy started coming out of the mountain. And I saw a bird, a really huge prehistoric bird, and it felt like it had something under its belly or attached to its body somehow, like I want to say like a ship of some sort. um but then as I'm seeing all this energy come out, I saw this indigenous man, and he is like limping and trying to catch his breath. And he came and he walked up to the edge of the tunnel, and he sat down, and I can feel his exhaustion. And then I looked inside the tunnel, and I can see this group of people, maybe 100, maybe more, but it's this group of indigenous people. And what I'm feeling is that when they were invaded, they hid in this mountain, and they have been stuck there ever since. And by opening this portal, this tunnel, they're able to be freed now. But I can feel their energy is really exhausted and fragile, and just like they have been waiting centuries and centuries, and just a very, very long time for this to happen. And I'm feeling like I kind of said to the guy right away, I was like, do you want to be set free? And I'm like, let me give you a minute to breathe first. But I do feel like they kind of need or want to be set free. But it's really beautiful. And that's all for now.
So I just got a very verbal only message, but it feels important to share. That was just, you live what you create what you live. Feel love, don't feel hardship. Feel joy. So feel Mother Earth happy and loved and healed. The idea of Mother Earth hurting or something like that, it won't sustain. It's going to wipe off. If we feel joy, then that's what it is. If we're feeling hardship, then that's what we're creating. It says you don't have to feel sorry for it. And I went back to Eeyore and what that picture was. You don't have, that's a downer. If you're feeling sorry and you're off on the side, you're not enjoying. It just says feel love, feel the joy and the bubbles. And that's all for now.
And I'm feeling, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, you could go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I just wanted to tell Tina some.
Earlier I had a Bjork song Unison come into my head, and I don't know if you all are familiar with the song, but just I feel a little embarrassed to like recite all the lyrics, but it's a lot about her describing herself as a hermit and how her desire, like this romantic relationship, sort of overtakes her, and she uses a lot of tree and earth imagery of like, I wanted to grow my own private branch on this tree, but I can't do this without you, and sort of like that harmony of like romantic love being this impetus to become unison with another being. So that's it.
As you were sharing those lyrics and about the song, I was like, could see the branches, as you said, the branches, and they started to remind me of like a branch from a branch like growing out. And then it's almost like it turned into the way when you look at a picture of like, I think they're capillaries in the system, but you see all the veins and they kind of almost look like the branch of a tree, but it's actually like part of like the body. Like I was seeing this similar sort of look, or you look at like a leaf and it looks like the veins that are in the body. And I was getting that sort of like how our human relationships are and the way our body looks and all of those things are played out in nature again. Like everything's like the same, you know, like um and kind of almost like this bubbling sort of energy I'm feeling in my heart, you know, when I'm sending it towards the earth and thinking about the earth is very similar to the feelings you feel like when you first fall in love, you know, like got all this like stuff going on in your heart and everything. And like it's all love, right? It's just suddenly I feel like I'm seeing a whole like row of trees at the edge of a forest. And all of a sudden the trees look very human-like. Like they have a human-like quality about them. Like the trunk almost like looks like it could become legs and the branches an arm and then there's this like hair that's also the branches and it just has a very like humanoid quality to it. And all the trees are kind of like standing in a row. It's like an army of trees, but like in a good way, not like a destructive army, but like a group of trees here to function the way an army would function, but instead of like bringing war, they're bringing like oxygen and things that help people live instead of helping people die.
Earlier, when people were talking, I had several images of couples embracing. So all various time frames and men and women, men and men, women, it just all beings in several couples just kept flashing in and out from way back to present day. So I just thought that was an interesting to add into.
I feel like I'm on this bridge. Um, there's this bridge in Paris that connects like I guess it connects the two banks of that goes over the river and connects the two sides of the city. But it's a bridge that like people go and they hang like locks on. Like couples go and they hang locks on it. I remember doing that like when I was in Paris with my husband and I feel like I can like I'm getting the sense of the sunset. Like it's the time of day when the sun is setting. And I feel like originally I'm not looking in that direction, but I feel like I turn around and I'm getting the sense instead of having the same like brightness that I had in the beginning of the journey, I feel like my eyes are being soothed. Like almost like a sense of something washing over me. but in a good way, like kind of like when you close your eyes to fall asleep and you kind of just let the sleep come to you.
Uh, Dana, as you were talking, I was actually imagining a wooden bridge made out of wood planks, but I could feel like the consciousness of each individual like wooden board. And even though it's technically like a tree that's been cut, like it just felt like the energy was so like loving and supportive that there was this consciousness in each part of the bridge. That's it.
That's really beautiful. You can see what looks like a really tiny, thin piece of string, and it's almost so fine that like I almost think I'm not seeing it anymore, but then I do again. But it's a thin piece of like white, sort of iridescent, rainbowy sort of like energy, but it also looks like the individual strand on a spider web, but it's like weaving and kind of moving the way um like an eel or something would swim through water, or the way you'd imagine a dragon moving through the sky. So it kind of moves in this like weird slithery sort of, or like a snake S shape. And I feel like it's going around everybody's heart here right now and going through it. And it's part of this like web. It's part of this like giant web that's not only connecting all of us right now in this moment, but it goes past and beyond us. And I feel like this is something that connects like any single living being on this earth, like from humans to trees to fish to animals to flowers to bees to anything. And I feel like it weaves not only throughout the earth, but it goes like under the water and into the earth. Um, almost feels like very part of or evocative of that sort of like spider web that we opened with, like the sacred spider, except not the spider that's connecting. This is the actual thread of web itself. It's like it is of itself like a being or a creature. And it just connects everything through the heart. Like it's like going through everything's heart, the heart of it all.
I'm definitely feeling back in my body. I don't know about anybody else.
I also feel that. Are there any other messages or information that anyone would like to share before I close? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close. Thank you, Spirit. We are eternally grateful and deeply thankful. Thank you to all spirits and eternal light beings who joined us tonight. Thank you for the wisdom and knowledge you shared and the guidance you provided and the gifts that you gave us. Thank you to the sacred shaman, to the birds and the bear and the serpents and the seal, to the sacred sunsets and the sun and the moon, to the healing spirit with the cane and the gods and goddesses that step forward. Thank you to Mother Earth herself and her connections and the tunnels within, and the lessons they've taught us about the energy of nature and the sacred connections of both the earth and ourselves, from the rainbow-colored ley lines and the energy that's all around us. Thank you for the reminder to heal and to be in our hearts, to balance the light and dark on our healing journey, to ground into the earth and send transmissions to the earth, to heal her, and by doing so, we'll heal one another. Spirit, we ask for your continued guidance in the coming days and weeks as we work to integrate the messages received for further awareness and healing. Help us release any energy that's not of our highest and greatest good to carry as we shed what no longer serves us. And may we be filled with the eternal sacred love of Source. May this great divine white light of love shine down onto us and into us. And may this love fill our days and inform all of our decisions. In this, we honor the great eternal sacred cycle of balance and harmony in the universe. And we ask to be refilled with love as we continue to receive messages of guidance and healing through all of our days. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And with this, the sacred circle is closed.